Hey, happy midweek to you all. Thanks so much for being here. I want to talk today about the oh so exciting topic of no one's going to save you. Okay, we're on location in my backyard. It's a new backyard to me. I wish I could take any credit at all for the beauty of it, and I can't, except for that I decided to buy this house so we could live here, and I absolutely love it. I love enjoying the gardens outside. Hopefully the traffic noise in the back isn't loud. There's a big truck going by. Hi, if I don't know you, welcome. If you don't know me, I'm Jenny Glick. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, certified sex therapist. In this space, I'm a relationship mentor. So it's my guide to move you from, it's my goal to move you from where you are to where you want to be. And one of the things that I've learned in the many years of doing this is that the more that we can loosen from making ourselves a project to fix, the more delightful and pleasurable the experience of our own unfolding goes, the more delightful the experience of our own becoming goes. And one of the things I wrote about earlier today, and I wanted to address it a little bit more thoroughly here, is this idea that someone's going to save us. So if you're watching this on recording or if you're here live, raise your hand if you have ever had the fantasy that you wish somebody would save you from your job, your financial situation, the health situation that you're in, the housing situation that you're in, the family situation. I mean, the list goes on and on. I know myself, I had that desire, that dream for a long time as I walked through the world and felt like it was all on me, that nobody was helping me, that everybody else seemed like they had help or a trust fund, or it was easier for them, or more privilege or access, whatever my story was, right? All of that set me up to be a victim in my own life. And I know that when I talk about victim narrative, it doesn't always go well in women's spaces, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's really important to become sober to the narrative that you're running in your own head. It's really important to shine a light on the parts of you, us, all of us. I do this myself with my healers, teachers, mentors, guides, coaches, to help show up in me what's seen as the shadow. We talk about it in psychology as the shadow, but the parts of us that we don't want to see. And the part of us where we want to be saved, where we want someone else to fix it, we want someone else to look at our finances or do our taxes, we want someone else to deal with the clutter in the basement, right? We all have that part. And the more willing we are to be present to it, to see it. And if this has been coming up for you in your relationship, really valuable and important for you to take a look at. Because the truth is, nothing is going to save you. No pill, no shot, no intervention, no amount of hiding or ignoring or pretending. It's not going to save you, right? Most of us, number one, don't need saving because we're perfectly safe. In so many ways, we're just so practiced at not seeing it, at not acknowledging it, and not tending to what we do experience, what we do have, where we are resourced, where we are connected with source. And the second part is that all of us who are here to walk our own hero's journey. We've all shown up in these particular lives, and then we've made a lot of choices in these lives to create the same patterning of our childhood, which is what most of us do, so that we can, with our own sovereignty and personal empowerment, make different choices. What tends to happen, however, is that we're asleep to the fact that we are recreating our family of origin, and then we find ourselves becoming the victim to our present day marriage, relationship, circumstance, situation, and feel like nothing's going to change. And that somebody else needs to change, that the circumstance needs to change in order for my life to be different. And what I do with women is help them recognize where it is that they have so much ability to create massive transformation. And most of the women who I work with are positively gobsmacked at the amount of alchemization that they go through in just 8 weeks with me. And part of the reason why is that what I do is a real immersive experience. And so we are combing through how it is that you're talking about yourself, talking about your partner, the emotional states that you're putting yourself in, the beliefs that are coming up that you don't even recognize, the behaviors that you're engaging in, the ways that you're seeing yourself or comparing yourself to somebody else, the old stories and narratives that you have told yourself are simply the truth, right? I talk about that most recently, like the internal propaganda or the misinformation that you're feeding yourself. And it's neither true or not true. It's just what you decide to believe, right? It's why things like placebo work because they, the research tells us that 30% of the time, a placebo works just as well as the actual medication. That's because if we believe it, it is so. So if I believe the information, the belief in my head, in my heart, and then what happens is we have some sort of belief, I'm not worthy, I'm never going to be loved, I don't matter, it's always on me. We have these beliefs, and then we collect evidence and stack it around these beliefs, and we call it true. And then we demand that others see it too. And in all of that, what we're crafting is an empire. We're crafting a castle for the very thing that disempowers us. Is this making sense? Oh, I'm so glad. Incredible transformation. Thank you so much. I can't see your name. I know this is the ridiculous part sometimes of this Facebook interface, but I know who you are once I see your name. And if you type it in the comments, I'll know who it is, even though on Facebook I could see it, but I can't see it right now. But thank you for chiming in. So I want you to pay attention to the empire, the castle that you are creating in your life, and how it is that you have decided to codify that, to concretize it, to make it true in your reality, and then stack information, evidence to make it even more true. And you might have been watching my videos for a while or reading my content, and you might be saying to yourself things like, well, this wouldn't work for me. It works for other people, but it doesn't work for me. That's another piece of evidence that you stack around that belief. Nothing's going to change. Or he or she needs to change in order for something to change. And if you decide that that's true, then it is. Then it is. As controversial as this might be to say, I'm just going to say it. What we put our truth in is quite literally our truth, right? It's true with religion, with spirituality, with the education that you say, this works best for my kid. This particular thing is better than this particular thing, right? This kind of keto diet is better than paleo, that's better than vegan, right? Like we all have our truth based on our perspective and the evidence that we choose to stack around it, right? But until you become aware of your belief structure, of the narratives, and of the evidence that you're stacking around it, what happens is you live in this little personal empire of distress, of disconnection, of misinformation, and you don't even know that it's misinformation because it's just the information that you have, and so you believe it because you don't know that there's something else. And the women who say yes to themselves when they say yes to working with me, they decide to open that window to their empire and say, could there possibly be something else? And that opening, that curiosity invites something new. And in that newness, what happens quite literally is a revolution. It's a personal revolution. I teach women what I've been practicing for the last 10 plus years. It took me 10 plus years and hundreds of thousands of dollars of certification, all kinds of personal growth stuff, spirituality stuff to crack this nut that I had been struggling with for a decade in my marriage. And until we are willing to get outside of our own perspective and be curious about what we once believed was true, then nothing will change, right? It's true in our relationships and it's true in the rest of our world. Curiosity is what heals. As long as we stand in a place of I'm right, I'm a victim, they're wrong, right? You can feel the energy behind that. There's not going to be any healing. There's not going to be a bridge. But rather, when we're able to step out of that and recognize, yeah, there's truth here and there's truth there. Yeah, there's a part of me that feels like I've been alone, that I have done all the work. And there is also a part of me that knows that part of my path, part of my mission, this life, is learning how to take care of myself, is demonstrating what I'm capable of. But that's true too, right? And so when we can come to these many different parts of ourselves with curiosity, with open-heartedness, with love, with willingness, and for me, with a community, with a guide, with a map, wow, do things change. No one's going to save you. Nothing is going to save you. We can't hide from our own personal self-realization work. We can hide. But in my belief, you're just going to be repeating it for a very long time. So you can hide if you want, but it doesn't go away. But nothing's going to save you. And you don't need to be saved. If you feel the knocking in your heart like I do and have, and like the women who I've worked with over the last many years feel, then what happens is you hear someone like me speaking and it opens the window and you wonder, is there another way of living for me? Could I possibly conceive of a future self, of a life, of an identity, of an up-leveled version of myself where I do experience ease, joy, connection, compassion, understanding in a real embodied way, not in a way where I'm tolerating and I'm trying to deal with it and I'm suffering and trying to get through, not that way, but in a way where it feels really genuine. And if that's the knocking that you feel, message me, DM me, email me, get in touch with me. Because now's honestly the time. We've all been through a doozy over the last couple of years. And I know if you're anything like myself or the women who I work with, these last 2 years have taught you what's most important and what's not necessary. And what so many of us see are most important are things like our health, our relationships, and the quality of our lives. And the quality of our lives is not about the amount of money in our bank account, though that can certainly make it easier or give us more options. The quality of our lives is based on the quality of the emotional state, of the narratives, of the thoughts, of the beliefs, of the patterns, of the habits, of the practices that I'm conditioning every single day that are lining the path for my tomorrow. So thank you so much for being here. Drop a comment. If you are watching this on replay, please hashtag replay. If you feel like this would be useful for a friend, share it with a friend. Now's the time really for us to transform and to alchemize and to become the version of ourselves that we've been waiting for someone else to do something so that we can be that version. Why not now? Why not you? Thanks so much for being here. See you very soon.